All right. First and foremost, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to the Most High Yahweh in the name of His only begotten Son, who the world refers to as Jesus Christ. His name is Yahweh Shai in the Hebrew. Welcome to another TOC Sabbath Day class. All praises. Everybody doing good? Everybody doing all right? Welcome to everyone that's joining us online. Shabbat Shalom to you. Whether you're catching this on the live or on the replay, we pray the Most High's blessings on you and your family. All right, we're about to get straight into it. Prophetic signs. The beast is losing its power. All right? I mean, last week, y'all know what the class was. All right? Tariffs, taxes. All right? Tariffs and taxes. The beast system is rearing its ugly head. It's rising. But now, we're showing you the flip side of the coin as the beast loses its power. This focus is so much geared on what's happening now, because there's other areas where the beast will lose its power. Now, who can tell me the primary areas where the beast thrives? 5 main areas. Who can tell me? We always talk about this. One is religion. That's one. What's the others? Education. What's the other? Health. What's the other? Politics. What's the other? Economics. Remember that. When you teach that, you're going to have to teach what the beast involves. Because when carnal people read the Bible and they see the word beast, what they think, Brother Daniel? They think what? It's a literal monster. It's a literal animal. It's talking about a machine, a system. A system that comprises of different legs and arms. Those legs and those arms, okay, they're what make up the control of the world. Y'all get the point? Good. So you can't control the world without running the systems that control the world. When you run the systems that control the world, it's like a well-oiled what? Machine. You run politics, you run religion, you run education, you run health, and you run economics. Okay? You run all of it. It means you run it, you fashion it, you shape it, you control the way it works. You get the point? Good. That is the beast. So don't think of the beast as, oh, it's talking about an animal. No, for those of you at home, all right? The beast is talking about the system, all right? So, again, prophetic signs. You got to know the signs of what to look for when it comes to this beast system losing its power. And absolutely the beast, it's doing certain things because it's losing power. You get the point? Good. Let's get the book of Hosea, chapter 12 and verse 10. Hosea, chapter 12, verse 10.
Reading from the book of Hosea, chapter 12 and verse 10. I have spoken by the prophets, and I have multiplied vision and used similitudes by the ministry of the prophets.
The Most High gave the prophets these prophecies of what's going to happen. Prophecy means to speak before something happens. All throughout the different periods, the historical periods of the prophets. And for those of you that's watching, you're not really sure how the Bible works. No, all of the prophets didn't exist at the same time period. The prophets existed hundreds of years in between. But they all prophesied similar or even the same thing, because at different points in time, different beasts or different systems, different governments that rule the world were in place. And the way the Most High works, I want you to understand this. For those who don't have no clue about prophecy, if you don't understand nothing about prophecy, the way the Most High works with prophecy is He multiplies the visions. That goes into 2 things. One, the prophets who deliver the prophecies, the prophecies get multiplied to them. As in, one, the same prophecies are going to apply to a recurring kingdom that's on the way. A kingdom that's going to rise and take the helm of a previous kingdom that had been risen, but it fell. In the same way the kingdom rose and fell, you can almost like clockwork tell what's going to happen. So you don't have to, yo, Cap, what do you think is going to happen? How you think it's going to happen? How you think? Nobody know, nobody. If you wise and you understand prophecy, you understand the way the Most High works. So read it again.
Reading from the book of Hosea chapter 12 and verse 10. I have also spoken by the prophets.
So these prophecies come by God through the prophets. Read.
And I have multiplied visions.
These visions that get multiplied, they get multiplied across the board by the different prophets. Read on.
And used similitudes by the ministry of the prophets.
He used similitudes, ways that he breaks it down, or the prophets break it down. It's using similitudes. So it's going to say like, for instance, the beast that emerged out of the water. It's a similitude. It's not talking about an actual animal that's coming out of the water. Right. The water signifies something and the word beast signifies something. But in order for you to get the understanding of what that is, right, you go to Isaiah 28 and verse 9. It says line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little, there a little. That's how you understand the scriptures. So when you see the word beast, you go to the other precepts to see what does that word beast correlate and mean. Then you would see, you go to the book of Daniel, you realize, okay, I'm seeing now there's a pattern here. Beast, government, beast, ruling kingdoms. You see a pattern, right? But again, you can't learn these things on your own. You have to learn these things from a seasoned elder that can teach you these patterns of Isaiah 28 verse 9, line upon line, precept upon precept. That's how you, and also through the keeping of the scriptures, keeping of the commandments. That now opens the Holy Spirit to now work with you. So now your temple is being cleansed. Now the Most High can lay the deposits and the foundation. He can't lay it with a filthy, dirty, nasty, decrepit, sinful temple. You got to get your temple. And that's why a lot of people, right, Brother Daniel, they can't really understand what the Bible is saying because their temple dirty. They tripped up in fornication. They tripped up in sin. They're smoking crack, smoking weed, doing this, doing that. Their temple is filthy. So the deposits cannot go where they need to go. The Most High can't deposit that into you. Y'all get the point? So let's move on. Ecclesiasticus 18 and 27. So when it comes to prophecy, what happened in one kingdom, it will happen again in another kingdom. Very similarly, almost in the same fashion, almost in the same way. That's how he multiplies the visions. So what happened in Egypt, it's going to happen in Babylon. What happened in Babylon, it's going to happen in Persia. What happened in Persia, it's going to happen in the Medes and Rome and Greece and so forth. It's going to happen. Now, to different extents, but it's going to happen the same nonetheless. All right? Let's get that. Ecclesiasticus in the King James Bible Apocrypha, chapter 18 and verse 27.
Ready from the Apocrypha, the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 18, verse 27. A wise man will fear in everything, and in the days of sinning he will be aware of offense. But a fool will not observe time.
So a fool will not observe the time. A wise man observes the time. A wise man understands the signs of the time. A wise man can see what's happening right now on the world platform, on the world stage, and be able to link it back to prophecy. Prophecies and what's happening currently right now go in tandem. They go hand in hand. But a wise man is the one who is able to actually make it all stick, make it all fit together. You can actually turn on CNN right now, see what's happening, and be able to be like, okay, I can see this playing out in Scripture. If you're a carnal man, you will turn on the TV and you will just see news. You will just see reporters. You will just see, oh, on today's news, President Trump, and you just be like, oh, all right, just the same old, and turn off the TV. You wouldn't be able to spiritually see what's happening. But a wise man, he understands that the prophecies are multiplied by the prophets. The same thing that happened in Rome is the same thing that's going to happen in Mystery Babylon or New Age Babylon or quote-unquote US of A, America. That's how the Most High roll. So you don't have to wonder and try to figure out what's going to happen. If you know what happened in the days of old, you know what's... And that's why Yahushua and all the prophets, he taught them to always quote scripture. You ever notice when Yahushua teaches, he always say, as it is written? Paul did the same thing too, as it is written. And like, you would see Yahushua saying things like, as in the days of Noah, so shall it be when the Son of Man makes his second return. You always see Yahushua going back to what? What happened before? He said, as in the days of Noah, people going to be doing what? Eating, drinking, laughing, going to fetes, festivals, making merry, giving into marriage, and so will the Son of Man return. Yahushua always goes back to what happened before. Good. I want you, the brothers and the sisters who are watching as well, make no mistake about it. If you want to know what's going to happen in the days to come, go back to the days of old. But you might say, well, Cap, we don't know what happened in the days of old. No problem. We're going to teach you. All right? That's why you come here. You come here to learn. All right? Good. So, a wise man, he will observe the time. But a fool will not observe the time. You know what I mean, Brother Daniel? A fool will not observe the time. A fool don't care about what's happening right now, number one. And he can't discern. He has no discernment. He's scrolling through the channels at home. Blip, 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 blip. See the news come on. Oh, yeah, boy. Trump going on, bad boy. Trump going on. Crazy, boy. And just change the channel. Trump wilding out. And have no thought of this links to scripture. Guess what? It gets even worse. You go to the Christian church right now on any given Sunday, Soldier Gabar, any given Sunday. Majority, not all, because there's some Christian pastors that are going to come into the truth. There's some who they're with the times. They know, they could link certain things. They know what's going on, right? Because a lot of them watch Israel. They ain't going to tell you. A lot of them watch what? Israelite content. They on the YouTube. Let me write down this script. Okay, boy, I got to bring this out Sunday, boy. They watch Israelite content. So don't make no mistake about it. You don't know what some of these pastors actually have sit-down meetings with high-level ranking Israelites, and they sit down and they pick their brain. And they go into, oh, that's what that's talking about? Okay. So there's some very humble pastors out there, but they're in transition. They know the truth, they understand the truth, but they don't have the cojones yet to mention it to the congregation because they don't know how the congregation going to take it. So some of them are with it and they understand what's happening. But for the majority of the churches out there, Soldier Gabar, every Sunday, any given Sunday, you would never hear them going into what's happening on the world stage right now. How it links to right now. How it applies to right now. How it speaks to right now. They can't. Because that's not their forte. Their forte is to do what? To distract you, confuse you, keep the wool over your eyes, keep you dancing, keep you shucking, keep you jiving, keep you tap dancing for massa. That's their job. And that's all you will learn there. That's all. And just, the basic Bible stories. How to be a good boy and a good girl according to the white man. That's what you're going to learn in the Christian church. How to be a good boy and a good girl according to the white man. That's all. But what's about to happen around the corner? You're going to have some spiritual discernment and understanding of prophecy to know what's happening. All right? Good. Let's get the book of Daniel, chapter 8 and verse 18. The book of the prophet Daniel. Chapter 8 and verse 18.
Reading from the book of Daniel, chapter 8, starting at verse 18. Now, as you were speaking with me, I was in a deep sleep on my face toward the ground. But he touched me and set me upright.
So the Most High got to put Daniel in a sleep, because what he's about to show him going to require you to be in the spirit to see these visions. You can't see this through a carnal eye or a carnal lens. You got to be in the spirit. That's why a lot of times the Most High got to put the prophets to sleep, in a deep sleep. Read on.
Verse 19. And he said, Behold, I will make thee know what shall be in the last end of the indignation. For at the time appointed, the end shall be.
So there's an appointed time. No man knows when that time is. When it comes to the Most High, everything happens when it's supposed to happen. That's what appointed time means. Read on.
Verse 20. The ram which thou sawest having two horns are the kings of Media and Persia.
So now it's getting broken down for him, right? In the vision. He says the ram that you saw having two horns, those horns represent the kings of Media, or the Medes, and the Persian king. Watch this, verse 21.
Verse 21. And the rough goat is the king of Grecia, and the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king.
Good. So the verses above mentions about the goat, that rough goat. Now it says, he's breaking it down for him. It says, that goat, remember we read earlier what? The Most High delivers the prophecies in what? Similitudes. What's a similitude? You're seeing one right now. You're trying to figure out, wait, why the Most High showing me a goat? A goat? A goat? It says that rough goat is the what? The king of what? Grecia. And the great horn, read on. The great horn.
And the great horn.
Verse 21.
And the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king.
Is the first king. Watch this, verse 22.
Verse 22. Now that being broken, whereas four stood up for it, four kingdoms shall stand out of the nation, but not in his power.
But not as powerful as the first. So now, when you read verse 22, right? These four horns represent what? The four kingdoms. Now, that king that is being referenced, right, is talking about Alexander the Greek. Okay? Alexander the Greek. Okay? Now, those four kingdoms into which Alexander's empire was divided after his death, these kingdoms were ruled by his generals. All right? Cassander. I'm just giving you a little back history. Cassander, Lysimachus, Seleucus, and Ptolemy. Okay? So now, while these kingdoms were significant, yes, they were not as powerful or unified as Alexander the Greek's original empire. That's why it says, of the nation, but not in his power. Not as powerful as Alexander the Greek's kingdom was. All right? And just to give you a rough overview, those four generals of Alexander, Cassander, Lysimachus, Seleucus, and Ptolemy. Cassander ruled Macedonia. Lysimachus ruled Thrace. Seleucus ruled the Seleucid Empire. Okay, now this encompassed much of Asia Minor, Syria, Mesopotamia, all right, Persia, territories extended into the Indus River, and then now Ptolemy, he ruled Egypt and surrounding territories, including parts of Libya, Cyprus, and Palestine. Why is this important to know? Give me verse 23.
Verse 23. And in the latter time of their kingdom.
Stop right there. In the latter time of their kingdom. You know, what does the word latter time mean? Later time or future time, right? Now, all those generals, those four generals, right? When you read verse 22, it says, whereas the four stood up for it, four kingdoms shall stand up out of the nation, but not as powerful as Alexander the Greek, right? Not in his power, not as powerful as him. It's important to understand that when I mentioned that Cassander, those four generals, Cassander, Lysimachus, Seleucus, Ptolemy. They ruled Macedonia, Asia Minor, the Seleucid Empire, right? Egypt, Cyprus, Palestine, Libya. You got to understand something. Read verse 23 again. It says, and in the what?
Verse 23. And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up.
He's talking about after all those empires rise and fall. What's going to happen is when the transgressors are come to full, meaning when all those kingdoms rise and fall, usually the Most High brings down an empire because of what? Because of what? Because of? Who could tell me? The Most High brings down an empire partly, not fully, but partly because of what? What's that? Okay, good. When it becomes a very sinful nation, the Most High just brings it down. But it says, when all them transgressors come to a full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up. So now, that's the part I want you to focus on, right? So now, all those empires that we just mentioned, those 4 empires, they rose and they fell. Egypt rose and fell. Syria rose and fell. The Medes, Persian and Medes rose and fell. Now, this king that's going to rise up, right? He can understand he can have understanding in dark sentences. Who could tell me what that's going into? That's going into, he's very cunning, very crafty. He knows how to play the game. He knows how to use, whether it's economic strain, leverage. He knows how to play the game because he's very cunning, he's very crafty. That's what it means by understanding dark sentences. Shall stand up, meaning rise to power. Right? Give me verse 24. Watch this.
Verse 24. And his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power.
But not by his own power. Watch this.
And he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper, and practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people.
No, not by his own power, right? Because when you read other scriptures, it shows you that he's a transgressor by wine. He takes things as if it's his own and uses it as leverage as if he was the one that created this, made this, uses it, leverages it for his power, but it's not his own, right? Now, I remember me and Colonel were having a conversation going down after class one day, and we both agreed that, listen, if this individual here, we don't know if it's Trump or the person that's coming after him. Now, it could be Trump. We don't know. A lot of things is showing that it could be. Right? But the person that coming after him may very well be that individual as well. Right? Now, give me that verse where it says, okay, but not by his own power. Give me right after that. Not by his own power. And he shall
destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper and practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people.
And he shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. How he will destroy them is going into, removing you from all desensitization of who you are, the God that you serve, creating a dystopian world where they remove all, knowledge of the truth. And we're going into that era where it's like a dystopian world. Dystopian means like, that world, it's almost like a simulation you're living in a dystopian world. Right? And it's like banning the word, banning the Bibles. They already started doing that. Banning the word. You can't teach the Bible in schools anymore. representation happens on TV shows now where you can't even get a TV show now if it doesn't have any like representation of homosexuality and stuff like that. Okay? So, destroying the mighty and holy people is going into a couple things. Now watch this, verse 25.
Verse 25. And through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand.
Wow, it says through his policy. So his policies or his agreements or his, the things that he's signing on, we covered last week, man, when it comes to tariffs, taxes, and how Trump seems like he's the catalyst for a lot of these things that's happening right now. Now, if you understand, and for the life of me, I don't get this. If somebody could explain this to me, right? America doesn't mass produce in the way that China mass produces. They can't. They just don't have the infrastructure on that level that China has. Believe it or not. I don't know if China got robots over there. I don't know how they be able to pump out so much product on a daily basis. It's almost robotic-like. Here's the thing, for those of you, like, okay, Brother Daniel, if you don't understand what's happening right now, President Trump, like we explained last week, he has now signed on these policies of these tariffs, right? Imposing high taxes for any imports of non-American goods, products. But here's the problem with all of that. America needs Chinese products because all of the products that they have that work internally for the products that they make, they come from China. If you go into the circuit board of your phone, let's say you have an iPhone, a Samsung, what kind of circuit board you think in there? It come from China. What about the laptop that you use at home? Where those circuit boards come from? What about the nice flat screen TV you got home? The circuit boards from that, they come from where? China. But President Trump wants to say, well, we're going to increase tariffs on those products coming in because we want to boost American product. We want to keep the jobs here, and we also want to keep the products here. So we're going to charge tariffs on products coming into America. Now, if that ain't madness, I don't know what is. Now, he playing the game. What is he doing? He understands dark sentences. What is he doing? He's being very crafty and very what? Cunning. Because what I just repeated just now, he's aware. Trump is aware that almost all American products use Chinese infrastructure inside their products. He's aware. But to what end? What is he trying to accomplish by raising up those tariffs and those taxes and then now ensuing what you have now, a trade war between countries? Could you just play a couple seconds of that thing for me, please? Just really quickly, so those at home could hear that thing. Because they may not have heard that thing. Just a couple seconds of that thing.
State media and social accounts were mocking President Trump's trade war with a flurry of AI-generated videos.
Stop.
Including at least one depicting...
He said they were mocking. They were mocking Soldier Gabbard. China was mocking with using AI-generated. So last week I mentioned to you, part of the war is not just going to be bombs and guns and knives and bombs. No, it's going to be like using digital warfare. And this is just like the starting era of digital warfare, using AI-generated images to mock President Trump. Go ahead.
Working a Nike sneaker assembly line in matching jumpsuits. The viral memes amplified by government-linked accounts.
The AI image that they had of Trump was Trump and Elon Musk and what's the vice president name? What's that?
Vance.
Vance. They had an image of the three of them on a production line working in a sneaker shop. All those Nikes and stuff, them Jordans, where do you think they come from? Where do you think they made? You think they made in America? Yeah, I better wake up and smell the coffee. They come from China. Cheaply made, cheap materials, very cheap labor, high price tag. Y'all get the point? But it's showing them in the AI image working on a production line. What are they trying to insinuate? They're trying to show them that, listen, what's that? I heard something. You need us. You need us. And that's how they're going to mock them. Watch this. Go ahead. Because we read in the scriptures, the power that they think they have, it's not of their own. They need all these other countries to actually say we're this powerful. But you see, the thing is with the U.S., they have something going for them that is very big. Their arrogance and their pomp and their boast. Right? Go ahead.
Platforms like TikTok or X poked fun at the expected consequences of Trump's steep tariffs. Higher prices and a return to American factory work were also in the subtext. In another post, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Mao Ning, who state outlets have described as a relative of the former communist leader Mao Zedong, shared an image of red MAGA hats labeled Made in China, now priced $17 higher.
Stop.
Ning also declared...
The red MAGA hats them that Trump love. You see them sporting all around. Where do you think they made? China. Them they come off the production line in China. And the Chinese know this. Read on. Play on.
We don't back down in response to the 104% tariffs the Trump administration had placed on Chinese goods.
Now, mind you, pause right there.
Satirical
China says, we don't back down. Now, you could take that in more ways than one, eh? Understand that? But they're like, if you want to play, we could play. Whatever level you want to play at, let's play. Let's play. Go ahead.
Campaign has taken aim at everything from tariff policy to apparel, even showing penguins on the herd in McDonald Islands wearing caps that read "Make America Go Away."
Stop right there.
A jab at Trump.
The penguins wearing the MAGA hats saying, "Make America go away." Now, you could take that in more ways than one, and when it says, "Make America go away." Understand that. We're gonna pause it there, right? We're going to pause it there. Now, like the scripture says, you're going to hear wars and rumors of wars. These are some of the wars you're going to see happening before the end comes. He says the end is not yet. It's not yet. So you're going to see some trade wars happening back and forth. You're going to see some threats being made back and forth. And you're going to also be seeing peace talks being made back and forth. It's going to happen, right? But you know when you see these things happening, you know you can link these to the scriptures, right? Now it says, his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power, right? Who could tell me what that's going into? What's that? Okay, slavery. Okay, good. Okay, so America has gained a lot of its power by what? Using everybody else. They ain't so big and bad. Listen, whoever dealt with a bully in school, have you been the bully? I hope nobody in here been the bully, you know. Have you dealt with a bully in school? The bully ain't really as big and bad as you think, you know. The bully have a lot of internal issues happening and going on. And then when you talk to the bully, you realize he's just scared. So he lashes out, she lashes out, because they're fearful, they're scared. Right? But a bully has a lot of what? Mouth. Their mouth is what moved them. America, they got a lot of that because they got a lot of pride, arrogance. When you read the book of Obadiah, it says that Esau, his pride has deceived him. Okay? So America has led everybody to believe because they're so big and bad, but it's not by their own power. They just use everybody else. And they've developed a culture of using everybody else. You know the rich people in America, they don't use their own money. They don't. That's how they stay rich. They use the funds that they get from hedge funds and banks. They use that money to make more money. They don't use their own money. A wealthy man in America, a wealthy white Caucasian man in America is not going to go and take his own money and go buy real estate and all. They use the bank's money or hedge fund money and use that as an investment to make more money for him. He's making money off of that money. He ain't using his own personal money. You, Israelites, you go, because you in the curses, you got to use your own money that goes back to them. You understand that? So it's not by his own power. Right? Go ahead, read on. Verse 25.
And through his policy also, he shall cause craft to prosper in his hands, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand.
So what that's going into, that prince of princes is talking about Yahushua, and what's happening is America is building up themselves army-wise. That's why they got so much pride. They think that their army could take out anything. And that's why one of the commanders have said, like, our army could go against God. He literally said that, right? So now it says through his policy, it's going to cause craft to prosper in his hand. Think about all the policies that's going to come as a result of these trade wars. Now, they're going to go back and forth warring with these tariffs. They're going to go back and forth. Some might back down. Some may say, okay, we'll come to an agreement. All of it is really going into the policies that's coming down the road where you won't be able to buy, sell, trade without that digital coin, digital currency. Y'all get the point? It's leading up to that. Okay, so that's some of the craft that's going to prosper in his hand. He says he's going to magnify himself in his heart because of the control that he'll be able to have over the rest of the world. And the UN as well. Understand, when the UN agrees upon something, who has to follow? Everybody got to fall in line. If you're either with us or you're against us. You understand that? And usually, when you're against them, what's some of the ways they destroy your country? Who could tell me? Economic-wise. Okay, good. Who could explain to me? Okay, who could name for me one country that got destroyed economically because they wasn't down with the get down? Okay, Cuba. What's another one, Colonel? Cuba was one, right? What about
Iraq?
Iraq was not down with the get down. They bring that thing down to rubble. Okay, one brother say Haiti. Libya. You see what they did to Muammar Gaddafi? Listen, if we were to go into that there today, some of you watching might raise some eyebrows and be like, wait, that was an inside job? You might raise your eyebrows. The currency that he was trying to bring on stream, that was backed by gold, right? The US dollar could not contend with that by no means. They had to take him out. This is some of the craft that's prospering in his hand, the policies. That's why he's magnified himself on that level. It says it right there in verse 25. Okay? But he's doing all of this to culminate, to build himself up enough to go against Yahushua. Y'all get the point. So drop that. Read the last part of that verse where it says, shall stand up against the prince of princes.
He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand.
Okay, who could tell me what that's talking about? Shall be broken without hand. That's going into two things. It's going into two things. Now, broken without hand, it also goes into when Yahushua, unleashes his fury and destruction. But even before that, even before Yahushua got to even do any divine, punishment, who could tell me what else that is going into? Okay, when he get turned, okay, you're going somewhere with that. When America get turned against, okay. Okay, this brother going places. I like where this brother going. So he said, from the other nations that turn against America, okay, you're going places. I could come on that trip with you. I could get a plane ticket with you. Okay, good. I like where this brother going. I'm going with him. When the other nations turn against America, what's some of the ways they're going to do it? You think they're going to just, out of the blue, just start dropping bombs? Okay. Explain to us what's the lead up to that. Give us some ideas of what some of that things that's going to lead up to that. He says it's not going to happen in one go, correct? Secret meetings. Okay, adjusting policies to overthrow the American regime. What about some of the tactics that they're going to use to actually weaken the whore? And for those of you that don't know, the whore is talking about the mother of all harlots, the queen whore. The queen whore is talking about Mystery Babylon, America. Now, before the whore gets fully weakened, what's some of the jabs they're going to use to kind of weaken the whore? They're going to use things like digital warfare. Remember, the whore is going to use digital currency. In their mind, it's going to be a tool to do what? It's going to be a revolutionary tool. This tool will give us more control, more power, more dominance. But that same thing that they're trying to use to get more dominance is going to be utilized by the other nations to weaken the whore. Y'all get the point? Because if you got a blockchain and you think blockchains cannot, they're so encrypted that they cannot be hacked. If there are encoders, there are decoders. Always tell yourself that. No matter how much tight digital security there are people right now on the dark web. They can do that and more. They can decode just as strong as you have the best encoders. Okay? So what I'm trying to show you is this. The whore will get weakened by various methods before it gets fully taken out of here. And one of the ways is through digital warfare. So when they're doing things like planning the EMPs, planning to take out the grids, you got to hack into mainframes. You got to hack into systems. Okay? The whore is thinking it could maintain dominance, but remember, we're showing you that the whore is losing its power, its reach. But it says, he shall be broken without hand. What that's showing you? Like the brother was mentioning, the things that the other nations are going to inflict upon it, they ain't going to have to lay a hand. They're not going to have to lay a hand. I was watching a movie recently. I remember my wife watching this thing and we said, look at this. If you want to bomb a country, that will only take out a certain radius. If you want to take over the world, do so digitally. And that movie, you know what they did? It's called G20. Who's seen that movie, G20? With Viola Davis in it. Just came out. They had this mastermind plan. They said, we're going to wait for the G20 summit where 20 of the world's leaders gather for that meeting, that yearly annual meeting, and we're going to kidnap them. We're going to kidnap them, put them in a room, and make them repeat the script. Guess what they're doing when they're making them repeat the script? They're getting them to clone their voices. Y'all ain't understand what's going on here. They're cloning their voices and recording them on a high definition camera. So they're getting all of their mannerisms, all of their blinking, all of their vowel points when they speak their words to clone their voices to make an AI replicated video of all the world's leaders saying something that they did not say. Saying things like, the Dow Jones has now plummeted. We're now going to buy into and then make all the stocks fall here to make all the money go up over here. And these guys who orchestrated this thing, all of the money as it fell over here was just going into their account. Right? And I'm trying to show you something. What the beast uses as its dominance and power is the same thing they're going to use to weaken the beast, take her out. Y'all follow with me? Right. Broken without hand. You ain't got to lay a bomb on her, on the whore. You ain't got to lay a Scud missile, a Uzi. You ain't got to fly a plane over there into her airspace. You could stay from 3,000 miles away and weaken the beast. Y'all get the point, right? Good. Because a bomb going to only take out about what? Max what? Let's say you drop the biggest bomb, Moab, mother of all bombs. And let's say you take out a whole radius of, let's say, 500 miles. That's just 500 miles. When you use AI digital weaponry and warfare, digital warfare, you could take over the whole world. You could stay from over in the east, hack into their mainframes, turn off their grids, 500 cars crash at once. Boom. Tesla and all these technological things where they're having cars driving by themselves, they're already right now learning how to, Surgical Bar, hack into those cars that drive by themselves, control them, drive them into certain buildings that will just blow up. Colonel, correct me if I'm wrong. Did they, some months ago, around Tabernacles time, were they making laptops blow up? Or cell phones? Pagers. Don't ask me how they did it. But they were just, whatever they did, they were making these pages just blow up. Explosives. Remember, America wants things to be like easy, efficient, easy. So they're bringing on a lot of technology. But the technology that they bring on, Brother Daniel, is going to be the thing that's going to weaken them. It's going to be used against them. You won't have to lay a hand on them. You get the point? But y'all going to get the beast vexed, The beast can say, oh, gloves is off now. Y'all ain't lay a hand on us, but we're going to lay hands on y'all. Okay, give me the book of Nahum, chapter 3, verse 1.
Ready from the book of Nahum, chapter 3 and verse 1. Woe to the bloody city! It is full of lies and robbery. The prey departed not.
So this city is talking about Nineveh. Who's heard about the city of Nineveh? Remember Jonah? He had to go and prophesy. Right? So the city of Nineveh, when it says woe to the bloody city, it's full of lies and robbery. The prey departeth not. Why are we going to Nineveh? Why are we going to Nineveh? We're going to Nineveh to show you something. We read earlier that the prophets and the prophecies are multiplied and the visions are multiplied through the similitudes. As it was in the days of old, so it will be in the future. So now we're going to Nineveh to show you something. Now, you say you heard about Nineveh, that city. I want to just go over something key with you. You can write this down if you want. Now, Nineveh was indeed a great city and a powerful city. All right? Nineveh was the capital of the Neo-Assyrian Empire. Again, Nineveh was the capital of the Neo-Assyrian Empire, which was a dominant force in the ancient Near East for a significant period of time. Now, Nineveh had an extensive size. Now, when you read the book of Jonah, specifically chapter 3 and verse 3, it describes Nineveh as an exceedingly great city. A 3 days walk. Yeah, 3 days walk in circumference. Now, it suggests that Nineveh has a large population and a large area. Archaeological evidence also supports this as well. It indicates a walled city. A walled city. Build the wall, so check about, build the wall. A walled city. I hope you are picking up what I'm putting down. Who wants to build a wall right now? So a walled city, right? Encompassing a significant territory with suburbs extending beyond, and Nineveh was heavily fortified with massive walls, all right? Numerous towers, right? Designed to withstand even the toughest sieges. Built up beyond what you could believe. Nineveh was that city. Bet y'all didn't know Nineveh was on that level, all right? So, give me verse 2.
Verse 2. The noise of a whip, and the noise of the rattling of the wheels, and of the prancing of horses, and of the jumping chariots.
Okay, good. So now the wealth and splendor of Nineveh, right? And archaeological excavations have revealed that Nineveh has grand palaces, temples, artwork, indicating some of the city's wealth, cultural significance. Kings like Sennacherib and Ashurbanipal invested heavily in its infrastructure and its beautification. So you got to understand, Nineveh is like what you would see America being today. Nineveh was that city. All right? Good. So, it had a center of commerce. It was at a strategic location on a major trade route, and that contributed to its economic power and influence. And don't talk about its military might. Woo! Nineveh, as the capital of the Neo-Assyrian Empire, right? It was the center of Assyria's formidable military, known for its ruthlessness and its efficiency. Ruthlessness and efficiency. Like, they would go into any country and just attack. Who you know today would just go into any country and just take it over like it's theirs? You know what I'm talking about. Okay, good. Give me verse 3.
Verse 3. The horseman lifted up both the bright sword and the glittering spear, and there is a multitude of slain, and a great number of carcasses, and there is none end of their corpses. They stumble upon their corpses.
Read on.
Verse 4. Because of the multitude of the whoredom of the well-favored harlot, the mistress of witchcraft, that selleth nations through her whoredoms, and families through her witchcrafts.
You got to understand something, right? It says because of the multitude of the whoredoms. Now, is that empire a whore? Yes, she is. There are many whores that you're going to read about who are great empires in the scriptures. They're described as whores. Why? Why are they described as whores? Because of their whoredoms. What are the whoredoms? What are the whoredoms? What's that? What are the whoredoms? Okay, witchcraft, serving other gods, idolatry, homosexual. Good. Those whoredoms are part of why that city thrives so much. Like, think of many of the empires that rose and fell. Egypt. What was popular in Egypt? What was popular in Egypt? What was the practice that was popular in Egypt? Homosexuality. What about Rome? What about Greece? Good. So homosexuality is like an underlying, factor for these whoredoms that, run these nations, right? But not only that, but policies and what's the word I'm looking for? It's like a policy. Legislations, that's the word I'm looking for. Legislations that go into effect that are written against the citizens of that city. But everyone has to follow it because it's legislated in the laws. Right? Now, read verse 5 for me.
Verse 5. Behold, I am against thee, said the Lord of hosts, and I will destroy thy skirts upon thy face, And I will show the nations thy nakedness, and the kingdom thy shame.
And thy kingdoms thy shame. So now, in verse 4, when it mentions selleth nations, this speaks of economic manipulation, like global trade being used as a weapon. Right? So now, you got to understand, it happened back then in Nineveh. But now, I don't know if y'all know, who's the mother? No, okay. Nineveh is described as a harlot, a whore, like many of the other nations that rose and fell. Egypt was one, Babylon was one. Y'all know the 8 captivities that the Israelites been in, right? Those nations that we've been captive to, those nations were called whores because of the many whoredoms that, they committed. Now, who's the mother of all whores? The mother of all harlots? No, that's... Okay, think of it this way. The end-all, be-all of all the harlots them combined, she's the mother of all. In other words, you know how the scriptures say, as is the daughter, so is the mother? Or was it, as the mother is, so is the daughter? Same thing. This mother of all harlots is the combination of everything you've seen in all the previous whores. All of the previous whores, their whoredoms cannot compare to the mother of all harlots. Well, I mean, we trying to get the name of that nation, right? USA. What's that? USA. Read Revelation 17 and verse 5. Now, mind you, it's going to show you. She's the mother. Mind you, all the whores them that you heard about before, those were the daughters. Egypt, daughter. Babylon, daughter. Persia, daughter. Medes, daughter. Rome, daughter. Greece, daughter. We're reading about Nineveh, daughter. Because verse 4 shows you that the multitude of her whoredom. She's a well-favored harlot. What does a whore and a harlot have in common? Same thing. Right? Give me Revelation 17 and verse 5. Revelation 17 verse 5.
Reading from the book of Revelations, chapter 17, starting at verse 5. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of all harlots and abomination of the earth.
The mother of all of the harlots them. All of the harlots them that was mentioned previously. Egypt, Babylon, Persia, Medes, Greece, Rome. She's the mother of all of them. Mind you, we just read about one of the daughters, Nineveh, right? And how the Most High said through the prophet, right? He said, I am against you. In verse Nahum 3 and verse 5, I'm against you. And he's going to discover her skirt upon her face. Meaning he's going to embarrass her, bring her down. He's talking about bring her down from her dominance. Right? And show the nations her nakedness and the kingdoms her shame. But now, we're going into what? The mother of all of those harlots. The queen all be all. Right? The queen all be all. She is the mother of all of them. But it says, a name was written on her forehead. Mystery Babylon. Because the Babylon of old, everyone knew who that Babylon was, but this Babylon is a mystery Babylon. Okay? It's a new age Babylon. And this Babylon is talking about America the Great. You understand that? Because America toots itself as America the Great. It's no wonder why it says here Babylon the Great, but it's Mystery Babylon. Okay? Mystery Babylon the Great is talking about America the Great. Okay? But she's the mother. She's the queen all be all. All of the abominations of all the former kingdoms cannot compare to her harlotry. Y'all get the point? Perfect. Let's go to Habakkuk 2 and verse 5. Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 5. Go ahead.
Reading from the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2 and verse 5. Yea, also, because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth a home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth around him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people.
So the power that he has, like we mentioned, is not his own. He gathered to him all people. He gets everyone to do his work, his bidding, right? That's how he maintains his power. But it's by those same means, Soldier Gabar, he's going to get weakened, right? That's the same means America will get weakened. The whore will get weakened because, mind you, all of this back and forth that Trump doing with the trade wars, right? America raising up the tariffs, China firing back. They're doing that because they notice that they're being weakened. Understand this. The whore is losing her power, but they have to show that we're not losing our power. We got to show and prove that we're really strong. And even if you're going out, you got to go out with a bang. You ever notice some people like that? They know they're going out, but they got to go out with a bang. And it's like, these trade wars that's going to happen is just leading up to something greater. As we know, they're going to decide, listen. And like we mentioned last week, there's some diabolical people. They would create the problem and the solution at the same time to give you the illusion that they're the knight in shining armor. Like, you know, that concept where I'm going to steal money from you but help you look for it? Sankis people are like that. For those of you that are watching right now, Sankis people, they have some very bad people here. They would steal your money right out of your back pocket, right? Watch it drop on the floor, put their foot over it, and you would be like, wait, I'm missing $10. They'll be like, you're missing $10? Let me help you find it. And they're helping you while dragging the money under their foot till you gone, then they take up the money and put it in their pocket. America is kind of the same way. They would send their scientists in labs, create diseases, create plagues, and then they already have the vials for the medication or the vaccines already made, right? And say, we're going to prescribe you this so you could get better. But it's all a money ploy. The pharmaceutical industry is wild like that. All right? Give me verse 6. So he heapeth unto him all people. This is him using everyone to retain his power. Go ahead.
Verse 6. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? How long? And to him that laden himself with thick clay.
So, in other words, this proverb against him, that he increases by that which is not his. Now, as you know, these tariffs is being strategically done. Trump knows that they need China. Trump knows this. But they have to do it in order to show that, hey man, we ain't afraid of nobody. But China said, listen, we not back down from nobody, never scared. So now China is saying we ain't scared. And we're letting it be clear that we want America to disappear. And for them, however America takes that, they take that. But they know what they're gearing up for. Tell yourself they know what they're gearing up for. Okay, good. Read on. Verse 7.
Verse 7. Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee? And thou shalt be booties unto them,
So
and thou shalt be for booties unto them.
Booties is just talking about spoils of war, right? So now, it says, shall they not rise up suddenly, that shall bite thee, and awake, that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booties unto them? You know what that's going into? Okay. When you go to the zoo and they tell you don't feed the animals, what do you think they tell you to do that? Don't feed the animals. What do you think that is? Right? Why you think they tell you do not feed the animals? Because that could what? That could get you killed. There's certain things that will absolutely get you killed. Okay, if you bully somebody long enough, what's going to happen? They're going to crash out on you one day, right? If you take advantage of a woman enough and she gets the upper hand, what's she going to do to you? She don't kill you. A woman will, if she gets the upper hand, she would kill you if you've been taking advantage of her all this time, right? Similarly, all these countries that America have been taking advantage of, what do you think is going to happen one day? They're going to get fed up, right? They're going to plan. They're going to plan for her. They're going to plan for the whore. But planning for the whore takes a lot of strategy and right timing. And currently, they're playing the game because this leader who understands dark sayings, he's playing the game. But he don't realize he's dealing with other leaders who also know how to play the game even just as well. So there's coming a day where he's going to outsmart his own self. All right? It says, shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee? If you bully somebody long enough, what's going to happen? They're going to crash out on you. You get the point. So now the whore is going to get weakened through various methods. One of them is going to be through digital means. All right? But she's trying to retain her dominance, trying to retain her power. And she's doing so, you know, in a hapless manner. Like she's trying to like feverishly hold on to her dominance. Okay? Give me verse 8.
Verse 8. Because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnants of the people shall spoil thee.
Stop right there. All the remnants of the people shall spoil. Why? Because you want to tell me for all these years, you've been taking advantage of everybody in that means. You've been retaining world dominance and world power. And you think that you're going to just maintain it forever? Well, haven't you looked at the kingdoms of old and seen what happened to them? Don't you know that the prophecies are multiplied through the prophets in the similitudes, in the same way the kingdoms of old fell? What's going to happen? This kingdom is also going to fall. But like the brother rightfully mentioned, it's not going to be just an overnight fall. The whore has to get weakened bit by bit by bit. And for those of you that ever played video games before, when you reach the final boss, right? Is it a situation where you do one thing and the boss is out? There's many different things you got to do. You got to weaken that area, do this, maybe go on another mission. You got to, so many points you got to weaken before the final boss caves in. And this is what's going to happen. So it says in verse 8, because it has spoiled many nations, and the remnant of all the people going to spoil her. Watch this. Read on.
Because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land, of the city, and of all that dwell therein.
Jump down to verse 12.
Verse 12. Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood, and stableth a city with iniquity.
So once you establish a city with iniquity and with blood, right? It's almost like you have the indignation of the Most High pending on you. America has built up their country with the blood and the sweat and the tears of your forefathers, right? They have used other nations to build up their commerce, build up their economy, and they said to you, the ones who are now the descendants of those people, well, you didn't work as hard as our forefathers did. Maybe you're more lazy than us. Oh, your parents didn't get to send you to college, but we get to go to college. They get to do all of that stuff because of the sweat, blood, and tears of your forefathers. So everything that they own right now doesn't actually belong to them. But they're giving you that play as if it belongs to them. They're walking on stolen land. Again, they're living, walking, thriving, and flourishing on stolen land. Never let anybody fool you and tell you they got it legitimately. They stole that thing. But it says, he built a town on blood, he established it on iniquity, so therefore they're going to get plundered. Right? So the beast system is a very greedy and insatiable system. That system has transcended beyond kingdoms. You've seen it from the Egypt kingdom come right down to the Roman kingdom. Now you know who's the New Age Romans. I ain't got to tell you. Right? And it's a very greedy and insatiable system where it wants more power, more economic wealth, more just, I want more. That's how all those kingdoms have maintained their power, by being greedy and getting more, using their wealth and their power to dominate. All right? But it's told in the scriptures it's going to fall. So you don't have to guess. Let's go to the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 11 and verse 1. 2nd Ezra. Oh, you didn't finish? Finish it out. Go ahead.
The beast system is described as greedy and insatiable, using wealth and power to dominate. Yet it is foretold that it will be plundered in return.
It's going down. It's going down, down, down. All right? Let's get 2nd Ezra 11 and verse 1. 2nd Ezra 11 verse 1. Boy, this beast system, I tell you. Go ahead.
Reading from the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 11 and verse 1. Then saw I a dream, and behold, there came up from the sea an eagle, which had 12 feathered wings and 3 heads.
So this eagle, right? Now, in this verse, is referring to Rome, right? But now, as we know, the prophecies are multiplied by the ministry of the prophets. Who is New Age Rome today? America. America the Great. So what did Rome use to represent their country on their signet, as a signet on their tokens? The eagle. What does America use today as their signet? The eagle. Because it's now New Age Rome. Go ahead. So in this vision, okay, he saw an eagle and doing what? It had 12 feathered wings. Go ahead, verse 2.
Verse 2. And I saw, and behold, she spread her wings over all the earth, and all the winds of the air blew on her,
so her wings
and were gathered together.
So the wings all over the earth is talking about her rulership, her dominance, where she spreads her power, her control. Okay? Her dominance and her control. When it says her wings spread all over the earth. Jump down to verse 5.
Verse 5. Moreover I behold, and lo, the eagle flew with her feathers, and reigned upon the earth, and over them that dwell therein.
Good. So that's the beast maintaining its power through doing what? The policies that affect the whole world. Y'all get the point? Good. Jump down to verse 32.
Verse 32. But this head put the whole world, the whole earth in fear, and bear rule in it over all those that dwell upon the earth with much oppression, and it had the governance of the world more than all the wings that had been.
Now, more than all the wings that have been is talking about more than all the other kingdoms that has been. This New Age Rome, the type of power that it holds is nothing like you've never seen before. Like this New Age Rome, trust me, Egypt, Babylon, Persia, Medes, Rome, and Greece can't compare to the power that, listen, when they make policies, as the old people used to say, if America sneezes, we feel it down here. Is that not so? If America decides it's not exporting any barrels or trailers down here, what's going to happen to y'all down here? Y'all in some serious problems. Where y'all going to get it from? Argentina? Venezuela? They don't produce those things that America produces. I know a lot of the sisters are going to go to the mine, right? Oh yeah, a lot of sisters. No more Amazon orders coming through? No. But this is how America maintains its dominance, all right? What verse was that? 32? Good. So it had governance over the whole world more than all the wings or all the previous kingdoms that has been. Okay, jump down to verse 40.
Verse 40. And the fourth came and overcame all the beasts that were passed.
So it overcame all the beasts that were passed, meaning that it was stronger, it was bigger, it's more powerful. Okay, read on.
And had power over the whole world with great fearfulness.
Fearfulness is going into the policies and the legislations that it enacts as law. All right, it puts the whole world in fear, because if you don't follow it, then guess what? What happens to your country? Your country is overlooked and it goes into economic ruin. We named some of those countries before: Libya, Cuba, Haiti. Once you're not down with the get down of this beast system, you're going to suffer a lot of financial loss and ruin. Okay? Read on.
And over the whole world, over the whole compass of the earth with much wicked oppression, and so long time dwelleth he upon the earth with deceit.
You got to understand how long this New Age Rome has been in power. A very, very long time. Okay? But now it has made the whole world fearful that if you go against it, there's consequences to suffer. Y'all get the point? And just like when these trade wars and tariff wars escalate and they crash the economy deliberately, bring on the digital currency, digital coin, they're going to bring it as, yeah, this is the new thing that will revolutionize the way we do business. Digital coin, yeah. When they phase out paper money, right, what's going to happen is more legislation is going to come on stream where don't think you're going to have the option to use both. You won't be able to use both cash money and digital coin, because some people are going to be like, well, I'm not going to use the digital coin. I'm just going to use the money under my bed. The legislation that will be enacted around that time will, by law, it will phase out paper money. You got to understand this, right? So, and the fear that comes from these legislations is what? The consequences of going against the beast system. When they enact it, don't think they're going to be like, well, brothers and sisters, when we have the digital coin, if you don't want to use it, just don't use it. You think it's going to be like that? No. There's going to be consequences to not using it. Either one, level one is you get shut out of society. You can't partake in the things that society partakes in. Level two is your essentials, they're going to get cut off. Level three, if you renting or owning your own home and you got to pay inland revenue, the taxes, and you ain't doing it through digital coin, you might not got somewhere to live. It gets deeper. There's level four. There's level 4, level 5. There's what they call total non-compliance. When you read the book of Revelation, it tells you also certain persons are going to be beheaded because they're going against the system. Certain people are going to have to die because they stand resolute for the truth. That's like level 5, level 6, right? You deciding if you don't have any food in your cupboard tomorrow, that's level 1. That ain't nowhere yet. Y'all get the point. But this is how the whole world, Soldier Gabar, gets fearful because they're going to put fear in you that if you go against the beast system, you're going to die. You're going to suffer. Your children won't be able to get food. You won't be able to have a living or earn a living or maintain a living. You won't be able to work, get paid from your boss unless you sign on with their legislative measures. Y'all get the point. Good. What verse was that? That was verse 40. So the whole earth, much wicked oppression, so long time dwell upon the earth. Verse 41.
For the earth hast thou not judged with truth.
For the earth hast thou not judged with truth. In other words, they didn't come to bring truth. They came to bring confusion. That's the purpose why the Most High set up these kingdoms. And the Most High also uses these kingdoms as a spear in his hand whenever his chosen people go off. All right? You're going to read that in the book of Isaiah chapter 10 as well. Give me verse 42.
Verse 42. For thou hast afflicted the meek, thou hast hurt the peaceable, thou hast loved liars, and destroyed the dwelling of them that brought forth fruit, and hast cast down the walls of such as did thee no harm.
So you got to understand. Their legislations, their policies afflict the meek, they hurt the peaceable, right? And these things are brought on for your demise, all right? But understand, like we mentioned, the beast system will get weakened. Its attempt to do these things, like we just read in verse 42, because it wants to retain power. Okay? Give me 2nd Ezra chapter 12 and verse 10.
Reading book of 2nd Ezra chapter 12 and verse 10.
Watch this.
And he said unto me, this is the interpretation of the vision.
So now this is the interpretation of the vision mentioned in chapter 11. Watch this.
Verse 11. The eagle whom thou sawest come up from the sea is a kingdom which was seen in the vision of thy brother Daniel.
So in the book of Daniel, that vision that was mentioned to Daniel, he didn't really understand what that was going into, but now it's being revealed. Okay, so it says, now that eagle who you saw coming up out of the sea is the kingdom that was seen in the vision of Daniel. Okay, again, Daniel couldn't understand it then because the things he just couldn't fathom. Imagine being an old-time prophet being asked to describe things you're seeing in the future. Those things don't exist yet. So it's very hard for you to like scribe down these things or to receive the vision of the prophecy. You're like, okay, I hear what you're saying, Father, but I don't understand it. But now it's being revealed, right? Go ahead.
Verse 12. But it was not expounded unto him. Therefore now I declare it unto thee.
It wasn't expounded unto Daniel. So not all the time when the Most High gives a prophecy to one of the prophets does it automatically mean they're going to have the interpretation and the meaning. Similarly for you, it says in the latter days some of y'all going to have visions and dreams. Don't always think that every vision and every dream that the Most High give you, he going to give you the understanding at that time. Sometimes you may have to go to what you call a dream interpreter or a vision interpreter to ask them. No, don't go to nobody who's not in the truth. You know, don't. Hey, listen to me. Don't go to no seance person or no tarot card reader telling them, you know, I keep these commandments and I'm trying to figure out what this dream means. You don't do that. The scriptures say never consult with a medium. What's that? Don't consult with people that do witchcraft and seances and black magic. That's actually against the law. If you get a dream and you don't know what it means, right? Pray to the Most High. That's the first, order of action. Soldier go by. You pray to the Most High and ask him to reveal it to you. If you don't get the answer to it, it means he doesn't want you to know it at that point in time. And maybe you can ask someone who's in the truth, who's good with interpreting dreams. Right? A couple of the prophets had to do that. They had to carry their vision to someone else, get the interpretation. All right? Go ahead, read on.
Verse 13. Behold, the days will come that there shall rise up a kingdom upon earth, and it shall be feared above all kingdoms that were before it.
Wow. So they shall be feared above all the kingdoms that were before it. Which kingdom you think that is? Which kingdom you think is so powerful that it makes all the other previous kingdoms look like child's play, kindergarten? It's talking about America. All right? So again, this points to a global empire that rises and dominates through fear, involving things like trade, wealth, and coercive tactics. All right? Let's go to the book of Revelation, chapter 17 and verse 12. The book of Revelation, chapter 17 and verse 12.
Reading from the book of Revelations, chapter 17 and verse 12. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings,
10 kings,
which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast.
1 hour with the beast. So at the time when this was written, all right, it says, which have received no kingdom as yet, because that kingdom had not come into power as yet. All right? But now you're living in the time where that kingdom is absolutely in power and reigning and dominating. Right? But that kingdom has to do many things to maintain its power. All right? It says, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. Go ahead, verse 13.
Verse 13. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast.
These have one mind. They shall give their power and strength unto the beast. What is that going into? That same king that would rise, that same leader who has understandings in dark things, dark sayings, dark sentences, all his coerciveness, all his tactics, all the games, how he knows how to play. All of that is for one reason and one reason only, to strengthen the beast, or to help the beast stay strengthened. You understand? So all these trade wars you're seeing happening right now is just a tool for the beast to use to maintain its what? Its power. Okay? Because it's trying to give strength to the beast. So what you're seeing happening right now, why does the beast need more strength? Who could tell me? Why does the beast need more strength? Go ahead, brother. It's very simple. It's not very deep. It's just very, very simple. The beast need more. Okay. If you're walking down the road and you need more strength, it's because what? For those people that exercise. Okay, trying to maintain, in a nutshell, trying to maintain its religion. But it's very simple. Just say it in very simple words. You need more strength because what? You don't want to lose your power. That's acceptable as well. Because you're getting weak. It's that simple. You're being weakened. When you're exercising and you're out of breath, at that point, you're blown out, you're tired. You need something to give you back to revive you. You need to be revived. So what some people do before they exercise, they pre-game, they pre-work, right. But then some people still get blown out during the workout. You need to regain. The reason why it says, these have one mind and shall give their power and strength to the beast is because there's coming a time where the beast is losing power. It's losing strength. It's losing control. But because it's losing control, don't mean you should be lax. It doesn't mean you should relax and be not focused. Because when it loses power, it gains some more power. It says to give strength unto the beast. So the beast will absolutely what? Gain some more power. This is a time period where that beast is going to gain power and you're going to see more legislations come on stream. You're going to see more policies being enacted. The tight grip around the world will get tighter. That's it getting more strength. And it's going to affect some of you. It's going to affect the way you work, the way you live, the way you interact in society, how you get money, how your job is affecting you, whether you get laid off, some of you may have to choose to just, I'm going to take the high road. I'm not going to take that chip. Because when the beast starts getting more power, it shows its power by what? Its policies and legislations. It's laws that it passes, that the whole world has to follow. If the world doesn't follow, what happens? That country suffers the consequence. And in turn, you will have to suffer the consequence. But you have to maintain your spiritual strength and your spiritual integrity, that no matter what happens, you're not going to give in to the beast's request. What is it? Don't negotiate with terrorists. Don't negotiate and don't compromise your faith because you want some bread. Don't do that. Give unto God what is God. Give unto Caesar what is Caesar's, but give unto God what is God. God owes your dignity, your morality, your uprightness, and your righteousness. If right now we got to pay taxes, right? Pay your taxes. But when that time comes when the beast strengthens its power, and now it says, we're going to enable some policies and we're going to put into law that if you don't do this, you're either going to die or go into jail. Take the high road. Don't give in. Whatever you do, don't sell out for Yahweh Shai. Don't sell out. Don't sell out. All right? But just understand this. We're going to get into some other ways the beast is going to lose his power in some coming classes. Remember, the beast is primarily in a couple categories. What's a couple categories? You could tell me. Finance, which is economics, religion, what else? Health, politics, right. Okay, y'all understand, y'all get it. It's going to lose power in all of those areas. It's going to lose power in its financial area, in its religious area, in its health area, all those areas. But keep your eyes peeled and watch the news. It's going to get weakened, but it's also going to get what? It's going to get stronger. When it realizes it's losing power, it's going to do things to gain more power. Okay, because it has resources. But those same resources are going to be used against it to finally, ultimately bring it down. It's just that the sad part is when it gains power, we get affected. When legislations come on board, we get affected. The whole world gets affected. It does so through fear. Bullies bully people through what? Through fear. And as we saw earlier in the class, sometimes the bully ain't really that bad, you know. It's really the fear that that he or she instills in you that really makes you feel like it's bigger and badder than it. But think about this. No matter how big the beast, the whore, is, it says Yahweh Shai is going to bring that whore to her knees. Keep that in mind whenever you get fearful about the legislations that will come on stream in the future that affects your livelihood. Think about that. Yahweh Shai is going to bring the whore to its knees. Remember that. All right? So we're going to end it on the class today right there. All praises to the Most High. We want to give all praises, honor, and glory. Hey, let's give it up for the Most High, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, man. All praises. All praises. And we just want to thank you for joining us on today's class. It was a pleasure breaking down these things for you, showing you how it relates, showing you how the beast is losing its power but also gaining power, showing you what some of the tactics, some of the methods that the beast system uses so that you can educate yourself, be aware, and make informed decisions. and no longer just watch the news just being a simple-minded person anymore. Watch the news knowing what's happening and linking it back to the scriptures. So we want to thank each and every one of you for joining us today. Be sure to give your alms and your contributions and your donations. The link is in the description below. Whether you're overseas, there's PayPal. Whether you're local, there's MoBanking. All praises to the Most High. And we're going to check the comment section. No questions? Okay, no problem. So with that, Israel, we're going to sign out and we say shalom.